Ram Madhvani, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you, Vishal. Welcome to you and to all the viewers. And thank you for loving Aarya season 3 and for allowing us to make it.
Ram sir, you're having a great time at the movies or on OTT. The third season of Aarya also got a huge thumbs up by the audience. We don't have many Indian OTT shows offering that kind of nail-biting drama like Aarya. So congratulations. And so to start with, what was your biggest takeaway from season 3 of the show?
Um, well, Aarya gets shot. And in season 2, she never wanted to become a Dawn. And she ran away. And people told us, make her badass and make her a Dawn. But you know, if she's going to become a Dawn, she's going to have to pay the price of becoming a Dawn. She's going to have to sacrifice. And everybody is going to be against her. She's going to do something here which she never wanted to do. And the sweetest thing actually has been, Vishal, is when people have, now that she's become Dawn, they're saying, Arey yaar, now she's become too brutal.
Yeah. Be it your award-winning ad film, your feature films like Nirja, or delivering a very successful series like Aarya, you have championed both short and long storytelling format. Which elements that you think are required to make an OTT series engaging, even when it comes with the second or third season?
I think one of the elements is fear of failing. I think fear of failing keeps us on our toes. I'm constantly worried. Arey yaar, a Friday morning when you first, sort of you spent year and a half, 2 years working on it, and then Friday morning your reputation is in that 2 hours you read through all the papers and the reviews and and on the net, and then you say, Arey yaar, okay, chalo bhai, pass ho gaye. Like it is like final exams, right? And then by Monday, you call up Disney Plus Hotstar and you say, kaisa tha reaction, weekend pe kaisa reaction tha? Because just like movies, by Monday what even in OTT, by Monday. And then you obviously know in a couple of weeks a little more, but by Monday, that it has been a good reaction. So I think that the thing that keeps us on, certainly that keeps me on my toes, is apart from hard work, actually, is just fear of failure.
But then, what do you think, as a creator, one need to offer in the second and third season of a show that compel people to watch it? Because they're familiar with the world.
So certainly in this season, one of the most audacious things that we have done in the trailer and in episode 1 itself is to tell people that she gets shot. And now we have to decide. So I think that is, I know it's a little maybe, sort of cliche to have done that, or it's a little to have done that. But that is what is the hook, right? And therefore, it's not necessarily a whodunit, but you need to know, okay, bhai, was it the Russians? Was it Nandini Saiba? And also, so many people are going against her in this season. Her children are going against her. She's become toxic, right? She's become somebody who doesn't smile. So I think that these are all things that when we are writing, we're keeping this in mind, because like I keep saying, I'm in the business of feelings, and my job is to anticipate what is the expression on your face when you're watching it. If I can anticipate that, and in advertising, kya hota tha? If you went to the client, you showed the ad, and then in a conference room mein 5-6 log the marketing team ke log the, but then they would call in 30-40 people from the office. Secretaries aate the, accountants aate the, aur sabko poochte the kaisi lagi, ad kaisi lagi. And my job is to make sure that I can predict the expression on their faces. And that's what I learned. Even in Nirja, my job was to predict that when the lights came on, what would you feel? And once I do actually articulate that, I do say that this is what you will feel. And then I actually sit back and watch, and I say, was I successful in giving you that ras? Because जब तक वो रस आपको दिल तक नहीं छूता है, तो फिर वो रस का फायदा नहीं. Then it's just, what they say, I am also not just in the business of feelings, I'm in the business of communication. Communication is about messaging. And if message is not message sent, it is message received.
Nice. But you were successful because while watching the season three of Arya, I was just wondering, how it must be like on the set because there are portions where there are silences and then music coming in and building the tension, and you don't know what you're gonna do next. How was it like? How you were so sure even while shooting it because on set I don't think there was music.
No, there is no music on set, but first of all, there are two other directors. There's Caps and there's Shraddha who are part of it. There is also a whole writer's room. There's Khushbu, there's Amit, there's my editors, okay, Abhimanyu and Khushbu and the entire team. So there's a whole bunch of them who are actually protecting me and making sure that we are doing, some of the work that we wanted to do. And also there's my EP Sia, who's, wanting to make sure that, and Amita, my co-producer, was wanting to make sure, okay, season 3 should be better than season 2. Otherwise, what happens is that we are not going to get repeat purchase. And my entire reputation career is based on this. And the last thing I want to do is sit at home. Mujhe bhi kaam karna hai, So in this, Vishal Khurana is the music director. And one of the things I told him is that, Vishal, I want to make this into an urban myth. Aarya should almost become a legend. It is an epic. And it is, though it's not like a big show, but it's a mythological. But it's a mythological show, which is an urban, today's mythology. And you need to make it Shakespearean. And you need to make it like a Greek tragedy. And so while we're talking about all this, I said, so Vishal, jo music jo hoga na, hum Sanskrit shlok use karenge. Or the reverberations of that Sanskrit shlok. So the entire musical landscape is what is giving you those reverberations of trying to make it like a Greek tragedy.
You spoke about budgets and everything. I want to ask you that today we heard OTT platforms offering crores of rupees to some actors for one episode. Do you think it justifies with the viewership? And do you think that resulted in an increased number of subscribers for the platform?
I'm not the right person to be answering this, but I'll tell you that if there is no return of investment in what they're offering, there must be a return of investment, because if the viewer is not coming onto the platform, then that platform is not going to spend that money. So obviously there is some wisdom in what they're doing, because without that they would not be profitable.
I asked because according to a report that was published and issued by Netflix, in which they have revealed the data of the few shows or series that was viewed in the US, and out of the 400 titles, there was only one Rana Naidu, which is a Telugu series that made to the cut. What does this say about our content?
Obviously, I'm doing something right. Otherwise, you would not be interviewing me. And Aarya is doing something right for Disney Plus Hotstar.
I'm saying as a member of fraternity, as somebody who understands film business from their perspective, sir.
I don't know what the matrix of that evaluation is. I would like to speak to the platform to ask them that when I meet them next time. Then I can actually have a conversation with you, Vishal, about this, because even I have just been a reader of that article. Okay. And it is shocking. Okay. You say, wow, only one? Like, what about if there's so many million people in India, how is it that we haven't made that our own people should be watching it, right? Yeah. So kuch to, something over here, they must be knowing, which I'll find out from the algorithm very soon.
According to a report, OTT audience universe is rapidly growing with adoption outside the big cities in the older age groups. As a creator, do you think there's a need to address this section of audience as well?
Again, I'm just going to be coming at it from perhaps a very narrow perspective, which is my own perspective, which is I think that televisions are in living rooms and not so much in bedrooms. And therefore, I want to make stuff for the families. And so they told me in Nirja also, they said, for the first time I learned that word, they said, you're making films for a 4-quadrant audience. So I said, 4-quadrant kya hota hai? So they said, young, old, male, female. So I said, but I want to be actually 6-quadrant, which is young, old, male, female, north, south. They said, yeah, wo bhi ho raha hai. Then I said, I want to be 8-quadrant. I also want to be young, old, male, female, north, south, international, and Indian. And what happened with Aarya season 1 is that we were there in the Emmys. And
Yes.
therefore, I said, okay, one is managing now an 8 quadrant audience. And primarily because I'm interested in reaching out. I want to reach out to, I don't want to just make it for myself. I want to reach out and make it for you. I want to move you. I want to make you cry. I want to give you drama. So I want to do all of this because, like Khushbu, my editor, says, Ram, we are not here to bore the audience.
Correct. Correct. And you've been successfully doing it. And congratulations. Being part of getting an Emmy nomination is a very big deal. It's almost like, to being part of that list. It's really big deal. But,
No, Vishal, it's been a big deal in my career because what's happened is that in advertising, there was the Cannes. And in filmmaking, there is the National Award. And in OTT, there is the Emmy, So there is, all of this has actually come our way in Madhvani films. And, Amita and me are very, very grateful. You can see some of it right behind me, on the walls right behind me. And it's a big validation. When you get these things, it's a big validation about the fact that you are doing work that is appreciated not just by the audience but also by the critics. So it's a good meter.
I want to come back to your craft. Actors very frequently talks about how it usually takes a day or two, sometimes more, to find the character. Usually they say the sur of the character when they start a film or a series. As a director, do you have the same luxury, or how long does it take for you to find the sur of the series or of the film?
um, there are bad days, okay, where you feel that you are not on top of the game on that day. But sometimes what happens is, there's a friend of mine, Baman Irani, whose writer friend told him, there are the pearls and there are the strings. As long as you protect the pearls and you make sure that you get your pearls, but the strings are as important. But if you're having a bad day, have it on the strings, don't have it on the pearls. So it's because, it is a bit like T20, what we're doing on series for sure. You have that 40 days, and in that 40 days or 60 days or whatever that you have, it's like going out there and every day you have to play that match. And some days you're not going to hit a six. But as long as overall, and also, thankfully what has happened is that when my bad is other people's mediocre, and my mediocre is other people's good, and my good is other people's great, then I'm okay. I haven't got to great myself yet, but sometimes, at least when my mediocre is other people's good, I'm saying fine.
Good. But like you say, some bad days on the set, which that happen very occasionally. After working for so many years in the industry as a director, there's anything that you sometimes feel that you find yourself unprepared for on the sets? Are they days?
Yes. You do. I was just reading an article on Martin Scorsese, and he says, for the last 40 years, 50 years that I've been making films, every time I get out of my car on the set, I ask my first AD, so what am I not getting today? So what happens is, a lot of the time, Murphy is going to be there, right? And your job is to try and control chaos, but the very making of it is chaotic. And your job is to try and see how to make that disciplined. But my biggest problem with anything that I do is actually what I call as the tyranny of time. That I just wish I had more time. I think that's going to be my epitaph, jo bolte hain na, gravestone pe. When after I passed away, they'll say, what did Madhvani say? Madhvani said, I wish I had more time.
In ad, often you have a story in 3 shots or 5 shots. Can you tell Aarya in 3 shots, like 3 pictures?
Yes. because उसमें क्या कहते हैं, आपका पोस्टर क्या है? अगर आपका पोस्टर है एक माँ अपने बेटे और बेटी के लिए, here is a mother who's protecting her children. तो ये हो गया आपका एक visual, because and if she has a gun in her hand and she's going to protect her children, then that is the visual. So you can, and they become posters then. So I think that there are ways in which you can narrow it down to one line, narrow it down to one visual, and you should actually.
And finally,
एक माँ अपने बच्चे के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती है.
wow.
तो ये हो गया ना बात, ये आर्या ये है, एक माँ अपने बच्चे के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती है.
And finally, you were working on another series based on Buddha. When are you going to make that announcement?
It was actually not on the Buddha, it was on Bodhi Dharma, who was the person who started the Shaolin temple, and it's there as part of the work on the shelves, as part of the other work on the shelves, and I'm hoping soon we can, like, sort of get back to it. It is a dream project, and let's hope.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank you, Vishal, for your energy, your interest. Most important to actually, sort of, I could see that you're interested. So that, thank you for that.
Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.